Hello. Welcome back to Book Club with me, Arbeiterian.
And me, Mira Manga.
We're getting so good at that. We are on the internet, we read Warhammer books, and we do that on a podcast and on a YouTube channel. You might be watching or listening on either of those, but if you are, you can support either of those things by going to either of our Patreons or our YouTube memberships or buying our merch. Yep. There are things in the thing below to lead you to all of that.
Yes.
Welcome, humans who watch this, to another Gaunts Ghosts book club.
Woo!
I know,
welcome
right?
To humans and Xenos.
Yeah. I mean, if Xenos are watching it,
they're so welcome.
They're welcome.
We're the leaders of this planet.
Obviously, yeah. But Xenos are welcome, especially Jakero. I think they quite like it.
And Tau.
Yeah, and Tau. So we're going to do the next Gaunts Ghost book in the season. This is fifth Gaunts Ghost book, The Guns of Tanith, taking place just after Honor Guard as part of, I believe, the omnibus for this is called The Saint.
Yes, I think so. Can I just say it's my worst Gaunts Ghost book ever?
Oh,
there's a
we
lot
all
of
know
torture.
why.
There's a lot of torture. There's injury, there is brutal betrayal
there's
and
murders.
murder.
Yeah, sure as sure there is. So, would you like to do your action movie plot summary, Tanith?
Yes. In a world mostly made of sky, a bit like Sky City,
mostly made of sky.
In Flash Gordon. Lots of people are sent by parachute to go and do war stuff. Guess what? Parachuting through poisonous fog equals broken limbs, capture and torture. How will Gaunts save this unholy city, which is Stinky City, really?
Smelly City, really.
And why would we carry on with the series after the horrible ending? Stay with us and find out as we read The Guns of Tanith.
It's got a very action movie ending, this. It's got a very action movie ending.
Awful.
It's great. Here we go. With this book, we actually get a little bit of update of what's been going on. So, the Sabbat World Crusade under War Master Makaroth has stalled after an initially strong advance.
You can see why I said Makarage.
War Master Makarage has stalled after an initially strong advance on the strategically vital Cabal system. Although 3/4 of the target planets were taken, including fortress worlds, the push overreached, which created a salient vulnerable on three sides.
You don't want to get flanked.
Nah. The occupying armies of Chaos archenemy were routed or put to flight in the initial phase, but then fortune reversed. Our fight is going to be on the planet of Fantine, which is part of that salient, and it's held currently by the Blood Pact.
Horrible.
Under Sagittar Slaith.
Horrible. Let's talk about the bastard scale right now.
Yeah, Blood Pact are going to be regulars from this point onwards.
Are they?
Yeah,
bloody hell.
They are like the
bloody hell.
The bad. Oh, we met them before. They were around a lot in one of the other ones.
Okay.
No, have we met them? No, maybe I've just been reading more books.
Yeah.
But they're around a lot more from this.
But you and I have just read
Double Eagle.
Yes. So
Blood Pact are in that.
Yeah. And I learned about Fantine and this planet where if you come from it, pretty much you're like a great flyer.
Yeah. So basically on Fantine, it's peaks and valleys, mountainous valleys. And what has happened over centuries of industry, the lower levels are just covered in poisonous fog called the Scald. So everyone lives on the top of the mountains and flies between everything.
Yeah.
So everything happens in the air. And all that means their Imperial Guard regiment are all flyers, which isn't usually allowed. But this Imperial Guard regiment pilot thunderbolts and lightnings because there's no land.
Yeah.
So they have to. So their defence forces are airborne. It's
a very cool concept. And I wonder if Dan just got to make this up.
Yeah, I think probably did.
And can you play Fantine Air Forces? Is there
there's a game that came out, we said this with Double Eagle, but there was a game that came out around this time called Aeronautica Imperialis, which was a plane game.
Do you know anyone that plays playing games?
I've got a set, but I've never played it somewhere.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, after Hargia, the ghosts are described as like slowly fusing into one strong company through shared hardship in those battles. And we find them practicing in the dark, jumping down from ropes from towers, trying to learn how to drop in from flyers on ropes. And then we find out why. It's because of this assault they're about to do on a place called Cirenholm.
Yeah, I mean, this is very cool. The opening of the book is a bit like, you know, where you see a training scene.
Yeah,
and you realise it was all a training thing because...
So they're training for this Cirenholm battle. There's a mock battle. And in the darkness, Ku is a complete prick to Larkin.
Yeah.
They're meant to be painting each other with tape to say, yeah, I've got you, you're dead. And Ku's got his knife out.
Yeah.
And he's threatening
I feel
people.
like Larkin, you know, doesn't... Ku just took a disliking to him, didn't he?
Took advantage of him, basically. Realised realised he could take advantage of him. They also do this prep on a thing called a drogue, which I really like. All the Imperial forces are stationed on these giant airships, which is where their flight decks are. So they're all on these massive airframes that are flying through, right? We also meet the new commander, but Lord General Barthol Van Voice, who's nice.
Yay, a good one.
We finally get a new commander.
Hooray.
He's pretty good to Gaunt. Gaunt, apparently, Lugo got really disgraced by what happened at the Shrinehold.
Yeah.
Gaunt was obviously vaunted for saving the Shrinehold relics and the Hargear. So yeah, Van Voice is in command. Van Voice is great. They attack Cirenholm.
This is awful.
Gaunt's ghosts, numbering few more than 3,000 at this point, are assigned as light support to a main advance by like the Urdeshi. Before the drop, we find out there's no ammo.
That's so funny. Like all the ammo they've got is the wrong size for the ghosts.
And the Militarum Clerk is useless and it's like, nope, sorry, I've only got type 3.
Why has he got the same? Is the Emperor?
Because he works for the Emperor. Yeah.
Oh gosh, but this is awful. I mean, I also light support. That means you'd send in your tanks or your big.
I think it means that so they're a light infantry company, as in they're scouty, and I think the idea is the Urdeshi are going in mostly on the big platforms, and they're like heavily armored, heavy infantry.
Yeah,
and the Tanith are going a light support going into like a side platform.
Do more sneaky stuff as well, maybe.
Which is what they're meant to be doing, which is good.
Yeah.
Usually these stories are about some arsehole who forces them to go and fight in a trench, and they're like, we're light infantry. Anyway, the Ghost Muster, they're arranged by squad. There's loads of personal moments to remind us who is who. Gaunt gets dressed with his bolt pistol and power sword, which is the trophy from Hieronymo Sundar. We find out he doesn't drink anymore.
Yay!
He speaks to his men. A few ghosts mentioned we get McColl, who's going in first.
Yeah.
Caffran and Tona Creed have a snog.
Yay, romance!
They're still in a thing. Brostin is helping Nescon with flamer tanks.
Very cool.
Brostin's like got a big handlebar moustache and is you get the impression he was like an arsonist on Tanith.
I mean, this is when I read about the Promethean and then the flamer tanks, I was like, ooh, there's going to be some explosions.
And then the flight goes in. So the dropships go in overhead on Cirenholm. They jostle for position. All the troops rope out. Various dropships have stuff happen to them. There's ones that are destroyed. The ghosts are on this secondary platform, and a guy called Zeit is leading these Urdeshi on the primary, but the Urdeshi get a lot stronger resistance. Bonin's ship, which is driven by Jagdir,
who's in the other book we mentioned.
Yeah, Bree Jagdir. She's like piloting it, crashes onto the dome roof.
It was awful. I mean, this is what I always say. Never, ever, go in a drop ship, have a parachute, just don't.
We also meet another pilot of a ship called Oscar Viltri, who is another character from Guns of Tanith. Oscar Viltri also gets shot down, but he's floating on his parachute above the Scald, but he's like, I'm just going to die because I can't trigger my alarm because this is a night attack. They don't know this is coming.
Yeah.
So I've just had to sit here. On the ground, once they've landed, the Tanith advance. They're using lots of cover. Varl and Rawn's platoons engage the enemy, which are blood-packed. They're in red, bloody battle dress. They've got these masks they always wear.
Yeah, they're really scary characters.
And bare hands, yeah. The whole thing blood-packed is that they're meant to be most of the enemy forces are not as good at being an organised military as the Imperial Guard. But the blood pact are modelled on the Guard, and they're extremely good at being an efficient, organised military.
And they're also all seem to be sadists.
Yeah, all horrible. But what happens is when Varl and Rawn attack, the blood pact fall back, and Gaunt, at the secondary drop zone on this platform, Gaunt's lot and Fazalor, who's the Urdesh commander at the Tertiary, have sort of ground to a halt.
Yeah.
Colonel Zeit's forces have resistance and suffer heavy casualties, and there's loads of dead Urdeshi. So on the platform, Zeit's getting hammered on the plane platform. Gort and Fazalor get stopped, but the blood pact are starting to fall back, which is weird.
It's a trap.
And what they find out is essentially it's a trap,
Yeah.
The doors are being protected by void shields. When people advance too far, they get cut off. Gorn tries to warn... Some people go through the shields and realise they're cut off.
No.
And have to fight. And then when Gaunt tries to warn Zeit, and Zeit's like, I know what I'm doing, you're just the support, and then dies because he gets his leg chopped off by a shield powering up when all of his men get killed. Also, blood pact are hiding in the walls.
Yes,
so they go through.
terrifying.
Yeah, they go through the doors into the corridors. Then the shields activate behind them, and then the blood pact come out the walls behind them.
I mean, I nearly stopped reading it. This is we're not even a third of the way in yet.
Yeah, it's like the first attack.
But also, void shields, is that a thing?
Yeah,
in the games,
yeah.
though.
Not as much. Some big it's like the sort of thing buildings have.
Yeah.
Bonin, so the people on the drop that crashed on the roof, Bonin, Michaela, Halla, Brejagdia, who they've rescued, Milo, they all managed to get inside the mill from the roof, and they navigate in the structure of it's called a Vapour Mill. So Cirenholm is very important because on the top of these things are Vapour Mills. The Cirenholm is a Vapour Mill where people work and they sort of get promethium out of the toxic mists.
Yes.
So it's useful as a supply depot.
Yeah.
So they go through the Imperial, this work
Sorry,
mill.
can I just stop? How good is Ian at law? We love him. Carry on.
They move through various levels, through like sump levels, service corridors. It's meant to be a maze, but the Tanith can't get lost. They manage to find the mill control room eventually.
Yes.
And they kill all the operators, but then they realise they can't shut down the power.
No idea
They're
how
trying to shut down the power to stop the void shields.
Yeah.
Bonin reports their location, which eventually Gaunt identifies as being the main control room.
Which happens to be very lucky.
And Gaunt then tells them about the shields and he's like, shut it down.
Yeah. Star Wars, C-3PO and R2-D2.
Yes, that. And there's this other thing happening in the main advance where the two of the platoons that got through the shields are Kalias and Vals. And there's this weird thing there happening where they're sort of daring each other to be more dangerous.
Yes.
And Vals, I think Kalia's got a death wish.
Yeah.
He's trying to, that's how they got stuck on the wrong side of the shields. But they managed to get through to Bonin, and Kalia immediately walks in and is like, yeah, I've worked in a mine for years. It's that one. Presses the button and all the power goes.
So good.
Yeah. So the ghosts win the day by basically Kalia gets there and is like, well, yeah, it's just a mind control room. Boop, all the power goes.
So good. Such a great payoff because it's quite a lot of trauma to get to that point. So we needed that payoff.
So in the end, then we go into this big thing that happens with in between this and the next big assault.
Yes, which is kind of horrible.
Yeah. The whole, there's basically a subplot. The subplot here is a trial.
Yeah.
Following the fighting, an investigation takes place because of a knife attack on a woman who was one of the hostages. So the Blood Pact had taken all the population and made them work in the mills for them. And then everyone finally gets to go back to their house.
Yeah.
And this woman, this hat wife with her two kids, gets escorted back by Kathran. The ghosts are their jobs escorting everyone back to their homes. Then she is found murdered in an outhouse.
Yeah. And everyone thinks it's Kathran.
Yeah, the wounds match a Tanith war knife, and when they take the little kids around, the little kids know Kathran because he helped them back. Kid just pointed at Kathran. So Kathran's up for being killed. Gaunt decides he's personally going to investigate, and everyone's like, why are you doing this? Troopers go crazy in battle. You've always got a few bad ones.
Yeah.
Just leave it. It's beneath you. It's distracting you from planning the next mission. Give it to Hark. Hark works for the ghosts now. Give it to That's what Hark's for. And he won't do it. But what essentially happens is that Kathran is later cleared of all charges because one of the things they find is notches on the knife, which indicate notches on the knife when they investigate the place. McCall goes and investigates the outhouse, and he's like, well, it looks like there's notches in the knife from this. And also there's all these defaced imperial coins. And we know that Ku was looting them. They've all been defaced with the symbol of chaos. So the Imperial troopers won't touch them, but Ku's like, fuck this, I'm having them.
Yeah. I love that they used McCall to be part of the investigation squad.
Yeah.
I thought that was really a lovely way of showing the ghosts all do their specialties.
Yeah, so basically what happens is when Kathran looks like he's going to buy it, Bragg and Larkin are like, we were with Ku when he was stealing those coins. We need to say something. And Larkin's like, I'm not saying something. And then Bragg secretly goes to Hark and reports Ku as having stolen those coins.
Oh, Lord.
And also, Ku is known to have recently got his life reground and resharpened. So Kathran gets let off and Ku gets imprisoned, ready to be tried. And Gaunt's like, fine, it was Ku. Let Ku hang. It was probably Ku.
Yeah.
Ku's the sort of person that would do that. Everyone hates Ku. Then basically he has to have this whole thing with Dower, who's like, the Vergar still feel like second-class citizens.
Yeah, if you let him die, then you'll lose your cohesion of your unit, and it'll be Tanith against Vergas again.
And then what happens is they find what's his name, Fagor is doing some supply runs, and they start getting attacked, and they realise that this random attack on the Imperial lines from behind the lines is by a load of Blood Pact who are dressed in dead ghost uniforms. So there's these Blood Pact running around with the defaced coins and with old ghost war knives that they've taken from the bodies of dead ghosts.
So you never know. Who could it have been?
Could have been one of them.
Yeah.
In fact, it's likely it was one of them.
I mean, this is very clever writing, isn't it?
So that means Coup gets off.
Away. No. Should we stop the video now?
Oh dear. Yeah, so it gets better from it. Now, there's also another subplot. In the initial attack, Sorich and Korbeck were wounded.
Yes.
Sorich is Agon Sorich, he's like a smeltery boss from Vergast.
Yeah.
He's another like a bit like Clea, but he's old and solid, and he sort of runs his platoon like it's a work gang.
Yeah.
Him and Korbeck both got wounded, so they're recovering quite seriously wounded. They're recovering in hospital, and there's this weird thing that happens where Kurth and Dorden walk in. They can't figure out why Korbeck's not getting better, and they find one night Kurth and Dorden walk into Korbeck's room to find Sorich naked, who's sleepwalking, and he's defending Korbeck's bed with a pistol, talking about how there's rats inside Korbeck gnawing at his blood. He can see it. He can see the rats gnawing at Korbeck's blood. And when they run more tests, they find out that Korbeck has blood poisoning. So cool. And it's that thing that saves Korbeck.
Yay. So again,
So Milo isn't magic. Sorich's magic.
They're both magic.
I never know whether it's Sorich or Sorich. Because it's vaguely Eastern European in Vergast. So is it Sorich or Sorich?
They'll tell us in the comments. All those audiobook listeners.
All those book listeners, yeah. Anyway, right. So those are the two subplots that happen. We find out new things. Planning happens for what's called Operation Laricel.
Yeah.
Van Voigt is so impressed with Gaunt. He wants to promote him. He's like, fuck all this, you're great. You can be in high command. I'll promote you to my staff. The Tanith can be your honour guard, but we don't care. Just come. You just stop being a commissar. I'll make you a full colonel. You can come and work for me.
And wouldn't that be lovely if they'd gone, yes, happy ending?
Yeah, I'll do that, thanks. We'll retire the Tanith to the back lines. You can go and be a colonel. Done.
Yay.
He says no. Anyway, so he tries to use his abilities. He's like, I'm going to use your vaunted abilities. You showed your abilities in that stealth. Let's use them for their main thing, which is what the ghosts always want.
Yeah.
And it's like, right, what we'd like you to do is to assassinate Sagittar Slaith. We want you to go in early to the next place, Urenberg. And in Operation Laricel, you're going to assassinate Slaith just as we arrive for the invasion.
Mental.
Yeah.
I mean, this is cool because this is the kind of Mission Impossible that you want to see them go on, but also it's quite a hostile, it's quite a tricky task. Ooh. So
they go and get a load of picked ghosts, and your teams are McVenna, Doyle, Bonin, Larkin, Rilk, Nessa, Banda, Merrin, Milo, Val, Kokoa, Curran, Adarel, Vadim, Nawa, and Mikol. That's your teams. It's 16 people. And they get this Mission Impossible briefing, right? Yeah. So they go special ops briefing. They're briefed by these 4 Sfantine Skyborn who are the Fantine's special paratroopers.
Yes.
Yeah. And they get basically super briefing on how to use grav chutes. So they can jump out of planes, not with ropes, but jump out and steer their grav chute down.
Just don't if anyone offers a grav chute. It's a no from me.
They're going to be split into 4 teams that are going to go on 4 Valkyries and be dropped off, and they have to try and kill Slaith, infiltrate and try and kill Slaith secretly.
Slaith is a big bad as well.
Each team has a scout, a sniper, a sergeant, and someone with a great big autogun because they have located some of the arch-enemy troops, the allies of the arch-enemy, which are called this alien called Locksattel.
Oh, yes, Locksattel.
Yeah. So the Locksattel are these salamandery lizard things that operate in broods and smell. They smell like sour milk.
But they've got to be named after their little cute locks. Yeah.
They're like big scary versions of those.
Yeah.
And they have flechette launchers. They're very dangerous. And there's a thing about them where they're particularly resistant to las fire, energy weapons. So one person in each team has this massive armor-piercing autocannon.
Yeah.
It's like a big autogun rifle. And he has armor-piercing shells for killing Locksattel. And then lastly, they have a Skyborn. So each team has 5 people. So they drop on 4 different craft, but it doesn't go well, right?
It's terribly.
Bonin's is almost lost. Jagdir is driving and manages to get them down. Bonin rescues her again. Yeah. There's lots. McColl's one is just completely shot down. So McColl goes down too far dead. The other 2 manage to land. There then starts, while we get the main force ready, this is happening while like the coup Kaffran plots playing out.
I mean, this is how not to do this as well.
The 4 teams do a load of infiltrating, and basically a load of things happen. Milo's team are all killed as they try and pretend to be slave workers. But one of the Fantine drops this Aquila necklace and everyone goes crazy. And then what ends up is Milo and Nessa survive, but everyone else is killed by Loxal.
You remember, when you used to do PE, you never were allowed to wear your jewellery.
That's it. That's what happens. Yeah. They do manage to get to the main square of Urenberg.
Yeah.
Just Milo and Nessa. McCall, on his own, survives and has to clamber all the way back through the gantries or outside the city while being attacked by like air sharks and space birds.
And any birds that live on this planet are not...
They're horrible.
They're horrible.
Merrin's team have Larkin in them. They infiltrate in, but Merrin gets really vicious. Like anyone who sees them, Merrin kills personally.
Yeah.
And Larkin's like... You're becoming a bit of it. You used to be quite nice and you're hanging around with Rawn too much because you're becoming a bit of a git.
Yeah.
And then finally, Bonin's team, who have Jagdir again, creep around, but they are eventually all captured.
I would rather die than be captured.
And lined up. So what happens is the assault on Urenberg goes ahead. The Odessia now, because Zeitzdom, Fazalur's in command, they're nice now.
Yeah.
They take the landing platform. The Gaunts, led by Major Rawn, and Captain Dower, because everyone else is out or injured, pincer the Blood Pact ground forces, and they finally open the way into the Uran Gate, which is the big way in. In this fight...
I can't believe you've just written it that.
Just written it like this. Coup Mercs Bragg.
Oh, why?
That happens in that fight as a like throwaway aside.
But I wonder why Dan had to do that.
Because Coup knows that Bragg told. So Coup kills Bragg.
Yeah, I mean, it's a choice, isn't it?
Yeah.
And no one finds out either.
No. No, it's like right at the back, everyone's in fire. Coup bundles him next to him and then just stabs him.
Which is why I maybe don't want to read the next books, because if Coup stays in for the next few books, it's going to drive me absolutely potty.
Sure.
No!
So that happens, biggest point in there. And then finally, there's a big...
I was just to say, I kind of knew someone was going to die because everyone was doing like loads of spoilers at me. But even knowing, it was just so... I kind of reread in disbelief, like, is there a get out of this?
Yeah.
But... Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Please write your reactions in the comments below. And if you need to phone this helpline, it's quite a lot. I was really... Were you shocked?
When it happened the first time, I think so. Yeah. But he'd been menacing them both. I mean, I thought he might have done it to Larkin. But Larkin's on the mission.
I just think sometimes when you have a bully like this in a Gaunts Ghost book, they get their comeuppance.
Well, we'll find out.
Yes, we'll find out.
Meanwhile, Slaith is about to sacrifice the prisoners.
No.
Sagittar Slaith comes out. All Bonin's team are lined up in chains with a load of other prisoners. Viltry's there because he's been captured as well.
He's been there for fucking ages.
Yeah, Bree, Jagdir and Viltry there. And basically he's like, right, the Imperials are coming to praise Khorne. We're going to sacrifice them all into this big pit of blood. We're going to drain their blood into the pit. And he starts killing prisoners. But he's attacked by Merrin's team. And then shot at by Nessa and Nessa and Kaffran, who Nessa's a sniper, have got to the high point. Bonin and Jagdir escape, and Slaith retreats under arms into his offices, where he finds that McCall has crept in and planted a load of explosives under the table.
Yay.
McCall crept in the back window, blew up the entire room and killed Slaith.
I mean, let me tell you, after all the trauma we've gone through, it was a beautiful payoff. Praise the Emperor.
Following that battle, the arch enemy basically doesn't get Fantine.
Yeah, Fantine goes back to Imperial domain.
Control. Slaith is eliminated, and the Crusade force gets the Vapour Mills back again.
Yeah.
Gaunt sees it as a victory. It seems like the rift between the Tanith and the Vagar states is starting to ease, and they're a bit more integrated now.
Yeah.
And then Gaunt gets new orders from the War Master to pull the regiment out of the war zone. They're going to be replaced by elements of a different army. They're immediately being sent somewhere else.
To the next book, probably.
To the next book. Yeah.
Wow.
Which means I think, so him and Van Voigt's disappear off. So there we are.
I mean, I haven't read any Gaunts books for a long... I finished this months ago, didn't I? I found it really hard to go back in. Yeah. Because this...
It's quite a nice, simple plot, though. Like, I like both of these books, Honor Guard and Guns of Tanith, because the setup's quite nice. Like, this basically has 2 battles in it. The first battle is we take the place, the Urdeshi are too impetuous, there's some blood pacts, we meet them, and there's the infiltrating through the sneaking around and powering down the shields. Great. Then you get the nice, a bit like Honor Guard, you got that battle and then you got the battle at the end.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, actually most of it is all the ghosts in little groups figuring out how they bounce off each other. Honor Guard, it was like the teams going on the trek. Yeah. And in this, it's the teams doing the infiltrating and the court drama.
Yeah. I mean, I don't get me wrong. I like the way that it was tipped. So you got some resolution.
Yeah.
And the court drama, was not just a straightforward thing, but also the whole conceit of people dressing in the ghosts. That was so sneaky. I thought the enemy were painted really clearly. They kind of got a spotlight in this.
Yeah.
So you got to know a lot about them. It's just there was quite a lot of torture because the blood pact are really bloodthirsty, and there was some certain really hopeless moments where it's just these people are trapped, they're definitely going to die, which felt like, I don't know if this is peaking in intensity. I think back to when I first read Necropolis and I was like, oh, this is a lot. And then I think it's even more. Again, one of those books that I was like, I hate reading this so fast. But
you did, I went through this really quick.
Because you can't leave it, because there's always something. Someone's always about to die or be tortured.
I quite liked Magic Sorek. Wasn't expecting that.
No, I like magic when it happens. It gives me hope because, you have to hope there's some good stuff going on out there.
Yeah. So he becomes magic, actual magic, not Milo magic. He's got you think he says something like, my grandfather had the second sight or something like that. Yeah. Bragg's obviously dead. No more Bragg.
What?
He can never try again.
Why did Dan do that?
He's dead.
So
got to kill someone. You can't just, in that lineup when they line up all the people that are going on the mission and you're like, oh, it's main character, red shirt Jenkins, red shirt Smith, red shirt. Which plane went down? Oh, it's the one with red shirt Jenkins and red shirt Smith on it. You're like, it's a bit like that. So you've got to Game of Thrones it a bit, right? If all the main characters always live, it's not interesting.
Got you.
So, Bragg's dead. McCall gets to do some action movie things.
Yes.
That was very good at the end.
I think McCall got MVP.
Yeah, definitely.
Because he was quite involved in a lot of good stuff.
And also, Bree Jagdeer, smaller character than I remember.
Yes.
Obviously, because I'm remembering Double Eagle and Intercept City, which I've read more recently. But she's not actually in it that much. The main thing is she has this thing with Bonin. Because she rescues Bonin and then Bonin rescues her. Yeah.
It was a very slight touch. And then I'm so happy that she got a bigger part in
she doesn't get much character development, really. Yeah. So we have some questions.
Okay.
Plastic Fork, is Lyja Fethinku more or less of a bastard than Erebus?
Oh, less.
Less?
Yeah, come on. Erebus kills everyone we care about.
Fine. Rob Sothoth, where do Partasin, Sagittars Slaith and Lyjaku fall on the bastard scales? We'll get to that. We did Partaskin last time, right? Yeah. What do you make of the Lock Sattel? I'm hard pressed to think of other examples of alien mercenaries in 40k who are quite as distinctive.
I mean, I didn't have a feeling about them either way, but I was quite pleased because whenever there's anything interesting, for example, in Honor Guard, seeing other cultures, a temple, the creatures that were being driven, that really adds to my universe. So having some Xenos in a Gaunts Ghost book felt absolutely amazing. Cool. I really loved it.
I really like them. Yeah, it's one of those unique things. It's only in the Gaunts Ghost books you ever see them. So that it makes the universe feel real, right? When there's whole alien species that only really fought just there.
Yeah. Just in that one domain.
And they're mercenaries allied to we don't know if they're chaos worshipping. They're just mercenaries allied to the things. And they have these flechette blasters. And they're really otherworldly.
Absorbing Lasfire is quite a cool conceit. But I wonder if, in future there'll be a point where they talk and become not friends, but were they always going to be the baddies? Or
I don't think you see them outside Gaunts Ghost books. They do turn up again though. They're not gone.
But
they fight alongside the Bloodbacked.
Oh, so they never turn good for anything.
Don't think so. I mean, I've not seen it.
Interesting.
Yeah. There's this weird thing you get sometimes where it's I got the smell of sour milk and crushed mint, I think is what it meant to smell like.
Yeah.
And people are like, what's that? That's Lock Sattel, get the big gun out.
That's so cool.
Yeah, yes. It's really interesting.
Generally, whenever Xenos have turned up in any Heresy or, Gaunts Ghost, it's been a great addition. Yeah. I've never met a Xenos that I'm like, why were they there?
Never met a Xenos I didn't like. So there we are. That's the Guns of Tanith. We've done another Gaunts Ghost book.
I know. So we're ready for...
So the next one, I don't know if you've got as far as, because you were reading this omnibus. The next one is Straight Silver.
Yeah.
And it's the one that's set in Trench Planet.
Which I've got in my bag.
Set in the First World War.
Yeah. I haven't read Trench Planet, but...
Okay, right, brilliant. Well, I've done the notes for that, and I've done Sabbat Martyr as well.
So we'll get onto those as soon as I finish reading. We've got a few things we're continuing with. We're reading the Primarchs, which is next in the Horus Heresy.
It is, yep.
We're reading a Graham McNeil book.
Yep. Lord of the Lance, an old world Graham McNeil book.
Yeah, finally, we're in Warhammer Fantasy.
Yeah.
So no elves yet still.
I don't think there are elves now. This is going to be another one that you're going to have to do the notes because it's been a while since I read that one.
Yes, I will be doing the notes for that.
So we'll do a few of those and then we'll come back with another one. So if you'd like to support any of our things, we have channels. It's all in the link below. You can go and buy some fantastic T-shirts from either of us. Neither of us are wearing them, but they are fantastic. And you can like and subscribe to this and other things.
Yay! Thank you so much for watching.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.